So, why is diversity in clinical trials important? Medicine is not a one size fit all. And it's almost like if you think about going into, let's say, a dress shop and you see a dress you want and it's fabulous, and you're like, I have to have that dress. And there's nothing like wanting to go shop for the dress. You go to the rack and you find the dress and it's not in your size. And it's like, or it only goes to a certain size because, well, the people that they've sized for this dress are only 2 to 6. But I'm a 10 and I really want to look great in this dress. That's kind of how diversity is. That's kind of how clinical trials is. You want to have the best treatment available to you, but because only certain people have participated in this trial, it's not suitable for you. They haven't tailored this for you. So having the diversity in clinical trials, meaning that we are not just focusing on one size. We're not focusing on one gender. We're not focusing on one nationality. We're focusing on everyone because at the end of the day, we all get sick. And who doesn't want to have something that's going to benefit them at the moment of their need? And then too, I think it's important too that researchers step outside of the box and realize that your research it should expand, far and wide, and not be afraid to or to stand behind, your lab and say, well, from my understanding, minority communities don't want to participate, or their socioeconomic status, they don't have access. That's a cop-out to me. How do you know if you haven't stepped outside of your lab? I think it's important for everyone in the medical community to go and do some type of community outreach and participate in community outreach and talk to the community and find out for yourself. Don't just read journals and assume that minority communities don't want to participate because of fear. Go and ask. But if you're coming into communities and saying you have to do this, you're making the wrong approach. The statement should be, how can we, as the medical community, come in and help you? What is it that you need from us to reduce your fear? How can we change your mind about participating in clinical trials? And here's what we're working on. Would this be something of interest to you? Or do you know of, or do you have any questions that you've been wanting to ask but had no idea who to ask? I think it's important to remove yourself from having the I'm the doctor personality to you're going to talk to people. They're people just like you. So go into the community, take off your white coat, take off your stethoscope, and remove everything that you've learned in medical school, and to be a regular person and talk to people person to person. Be relatable, and when you're relatable, you get a greater response from people in the community because that's what they're looking for. When you're coming into the community, there's a fear automatically because it's like, okay, you're going to tell me there's something wrong with me. But when you change the approach and when you come in with delicacy and empathy and understanding that there's trauma that has happened in minority communities, and there's trauma happening every day. Life for some people in socioeconomic status is traumatizing. So you have to come in with a different lens, not as a lens of research, but a lens of understanding. So I think if we do that, there's a better opportunity for participation.